We are humbled that so many came today, and we know that many traveled great distances. The family has written our thoughts about Betty down, or Mom, but many of us feel that we would not be able to read them. We are very grateful to Bob Perkins and myself for helping with these readings. The family buried Betty's remains last Labor Day here in Oak Creek Cemetery, next to Gordy and near Morgan, along the northwest fence. And they've left some balloons there so you can find the site if you'd like to visit it later. So if you go through the cemetery gates, turn left instantly, turn right, and up on the hill is where she's at.
Right at the fence.
Right at the fence.
She's got the best view in the house.
Yeah. Rachel's Smoke and Barbecue is furnishing a meal that you are welcome to stay and enjoy with us. There is a TV set up, scrolling through photos of Betty and Gordy and family. Please take a few minutes and watch. Marcia had some books published that include some of the stories you will hear today. There are lots more stories from family and friends that are not going to be read or spoke today. And there are plenty of books, so please feel free to take one. There's lots of family history and lots of good stories in there. And the family would like to thank you for coming today.
Do you want your chair?
Not right now.
No, dear, you're fine. I'll scoot over. We have lawn chairs. I can pull them out if you need them.
I don't think she does.
He's got to put his eyes on.
A tribute to my cousin, Betty Mae Perkins Steele. In 1936, my cousin was born in Lebanon, Indiana, as were all my first cousins on my dad's side of the family. At the same time, a 2-year-old boy was romping about in the town of Oak Creek, Colorado. Betty Mae met this young man named Gordon Steele, Gordy, on family trips to Colorado to visit relatives near Oak Creek. Jump forward to April of 1955. They were married in Lebanon, Indiana, and moved a pickup truck full of their possessions, including wedding gifts, to Oak Creek. In the book, there is a writing by Betty Mae describing the start of their married life in the timber. It's a very detailed and lengthy writing. It's very good, so be sure to take a book and read it.
Then Gordy and Betty started the life of coal mining. Gordy worked with his dad and brother Dwayne. Gordy did most of the underground operations of the mine while the others tended the duties above the surface. During this time in Oak Creek, Betty and Gordon were foster parents to 16 children in 5 years. Life was hectic with 3 children of their own, besides the movement of foster children through their home. After retirement, Betty and Gordon moved to Grand Junction and then to Anaconda, Montana, to be near a daughter and son-in-law and granddaughter. Eventually, they moved to Yuma, Arizona for good climate and no altitude for Gordy. The years in the coal mine were catching up with him, and black lung disease had become prevalent. In March of 2017, upon returning from Mexican travel, Bob saw them in Yuma, even though Gordy might not have been in the best of health. He was cheerful and participated in little activity that they did. A month later, on April 24th, he passed due to complications of the black lung disease. Very quickly, Betty Mae, and I mean quickly, made the transition from Yuma to Denver area to be near 2 of her kids there. And I've never seen a woman pack up and move out as fast as she did.
It was pretty amazing.
In a letter from her, I don't do email, In a letter from her on May 25th, she is asking me to help MC a celebration of Gordy's life, which would be in Oak Creek on July 29th of last year. I did not hesitate to accept this request to share readings pertaining to Gordy, along with the niece by marriage on Gordy's side of the family. From her letter, Betty says, and these are her direct words, Gordy was afraid I was making myself ill by taking care of him. One of the last things he said to me was, "Sit." And he was right. I am so dizzy. I have trouble navigating. I had thought I could MC the celebration of Gordy's life myself. I'm pretty sure I hear Gordy saying, "Sit," so I will sit. Just a little over a week after I received her letter, Betty May was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. A tumor at the base of the brain was inoperable, and it was starting to put pressure on certain areas of the brain which control different functions of the body. Her voice was a whisper. Her left side of the face and left arm numb. She was still knowing what was going on around her, and at times her quick wit still came out. She said the doctor told her to eat, especially eat ice cream, yogurt, and dairy products. So she kept saying, "Bring on the ice cream." She started a radiation program. This pretty well settled the situation that she would not be attending the celebration of Gordy's life on July 29th. She had prepared written materials which were to be presented at the celebration of Gordy's life. I saw her 2 times before heading into the mountains for the Oak Creek event. I told her then that I would do my best to honor her husband of 62 years. She whispered her response that she knew it would be done right. I saw Betty another 2 times when I got back to Denver. Even though she was not as cognizant as she was earlier, I feel she knew things went according to her plans for her dear Gordy. She passed to be with her life companion on August 2nd, surrounded by her family.
Betty May lived a life of adventure, from the logging camp start to remodeling an old schoolhouse in Hamilton, into a wonderful house, to peach farming, to mission work, to many travels with Gordy and family. Life is selfless devotion and concern for family, taking care of Gordy till the end, her 3 children, and also sharing herself with 16 foster children in their home. Life of adoration to God through vocal and instrumental music, wherever they were. Betty May was always in the church choir and sometimes wrangled Gordy to join in. She was an active participant in Sweet Adelines for a number of years in Colorado, and sometimes even arranging music for the group's use. Life of artistic endeavors and endless energy, she did arts and crafts. Betty May ran a flower shop out of her house in Oak Creek for a short time. In 2016, a dozen of us were celebrating with Betty on a cruise to Mexico for her 80th birthday.
The following tidbits are actual letters that I've saved of Betty's because I'm not a hoarder.
But borderline.
Right. And I've given each one a caption, and the first one is, she was a person of action and decisiveness. This is October 31st of 1994. Dear Bob, we've moved. We sold the orchard September 30th. Catch the timeline down here. We sold the orchard September 30th, bought this house October 7th. We're moved in by October 17th, and that's the series of events in those 2 weeks. Toby was here the weekend we looked at this house, and this one was his first choice. We worried that it was too citified for us and bid on another one that we didn't get for our price, then bid on this one. It's in a suburban development. We're 1/10 of a mile off a busy major road. We like the house more every day.
And this one is titled, Betty, a Person Always Having Fun, July 17th, 2006. We rented a Forest Service primitive cabin, and Steve and Angie spent 3 nights there with us. Hank is feeling so much better that he and Marcia came out twice, an hour drive, and Marcia stayed 2 nights too. Fishing wasn't too good this time, but the rain was fun when we built a fire in the little stove in the cabin. One evening while we were cooking a roast on the gas grill, a fox came through the camp. She got within 6 feet of the grill, and we thought she was probably begging for food. Someone threw her a cracker. She scooped it up in her mouth, spit it out, glared at us, spat at us, squatted, and peed on it. What a message. We laughed and laughed. This one's titled, Betty, Meaning Well in Her Efforts. My friend Susan got us both approved to go visit her husband in Deer Lodge State Prison. Thursday was to have been the first visit for me. She said they had a dress code, but I always dress conservatively, and she doubted I even owned anything that wouldn't pass inspection. So I chose a cool and comfortable pantsuit. Turned out it's a windsuit, which I didn't even know what that was. It's 2 very light fabrics, one is a lining. Well, anything could be smuggled in between the lining and the fabric, and I flunked the dress code inspection. I told Susan I'd just wait in the car while she visited, and they informed me that wasn't permitted either. They suggested I go back to Deer Lodge to the thrift store and buy something appropriate. But it was already after 3, and Marvin can only visit until 5, so we just came home. Marcia is writing in the family history book that her mom flunked the dress code to get into prison.
And the Perkins people are known for their dermatological difficulties, as we have evidence, 3 or 4 people here. And this was December 24th, and she's writing, she's a busy person, and she's writing to me, I need a project for the day they cut my face off, and a few days following. So today I'm sewing together the wedges of your Dresden plate design, and I'll applique it to the big squares later. I'm in need of quilt projects. Help.
And Betty didn't write this, but Bob found this, and he felt like this explained Betty's philosophy in life. I'm reading more and dusting less. I'm sitting on the deck and admiring the view without fussing about the weeds in the garden. I'm spending more time with my family and friends and less time in committee meetings. Whenever possible, life should be a pattern of experience to savor, not endure. I'm trying to recognize these moments now and cherish them. I'm not saving anything. Use the good china, crystal, for every special event, such as losing a pound, getting the sink unstopped, the first blossom, and so on. Someday, and one of these days, are losing their grip on my vocabulary. If it's worth seeing or hearing or doing, I want to see, hear, and do it now. I'm trying very hard not to put off, hold back, or save anything that would add laughter and luster to our lives. And every morning when I open my eyes, I tell myself that it is special. Every day, every minute, every breath truly is a gift of God. And let me tell you, when she moved from Yuma to Denver, She did it in about the back of a pickup, didn't she? And we had a horse trailer and pickups and all kinds of stuff that we moved her from Montana with. So she definitely had gotten downsized a lot.
One of the most interesting and exciting events that I've done in my life so far is a mission trip to Africa with Betty and Gordy. And in a letter of July 21st, 2003, this is the first indication that she was interested in the trip. Gordy had been before, and she's asking me to go along. Our friends, the McKinneys, are planning another Africa trip. Are you interested? It will be next summer for 3 weeks, getting home just before Labor Day. This trip, the crew will be bigger, and they'll build a church. They gave us until February as a deadline for signing up. We haven't decided for sure yet, but probably will go. We did go to Africa to experience another world. Afterwards, she wrote this. In September 22nd, 2004, she wrote, I celebrated my birthday in Africa. At the morning devotion circle, Gordy told them it was my birthday, and they sang to me. Mary Alice, the director's wife, gave me a warm scone tea on the way to work. Another person, Elizabeth, gave me a box of bubble gum that I shared with the children at the site all week. The girls' cabin made dinner that night and couldn't find a cake mix or brownie mix, so we had birthday ice cream with a candle, and they sang again. Bob and Ryan made me a lanyard out of ponytail ties and attached a pin. It was very special. It's the greatest celebration I ever had. Also, on September 22nd, she wrote in the same letter, one of the 3 ministers who were volunteers, Steve Marshall from California, got to preach the first Sunday in the new, partly built church. He asked me to sing and to sign language, How Great Thou Art. Then he incorporated the song into his sermon. I felt so honored, so humbled, that I was asked to sing that Sunday, and so proud that my quilt hung on the pulpit. I dedicated the quilt with this speech. I made 5 quilts like this one. 3 hang in American churches who are praying for you. 1 hangs in my house, so I will remember you every day. And this one I give to you with all my love. And this part I signed, may the love of God glow in your hearts like this flame. Blessings on you and a life well lived. Live eternally in peaceful happiness with your husband Gordy, son Morgan, parents, and others who have passed before you and have greeted you with heartwarming welcomes.
Okay, this is part of the speech, and I'm not sure if I can do this very well, but Betty and Gordy were inseparable. And they truly loved each other and their children. And Leah, your grandmother would have been so tickled to have been to your wedding. Because she really liked Tim. It's easy to say Tim. Betty and Gordon were extremely generous, and many of you have felt that through the years. Betty was always sharing her talents with everyone. I have some placemats I'd forgotten about that I ran across the other day, and I had them out on my table ever since. And many of you have little trinkets that Betty's made and given to you. Betty and Gordon were not selfish people. They were so good when his brother Dwayne was in the mode of passing. They came down and stayed for that 2.5, 3 weeks while he passed, and were a real godsend to us and to Dwayne. They came to all of our family things that were going on for our children. They extended themselves as extra grandparents to our kids, and we'll always be grateful to that. And one thing about it, Betty made sure Gordon was taken care of completely. He was in the ground, taken care of, and then she went to meet him. And what a cool celebration for your mom and dad to get back together and to be around Morgan for a while. And she misses you guys, but she knows you guys are all right. And then she knows it won't be very long that you guys will be back up there, but let's not worry that, okay? But I just wanted to know, Betty and Gordon were soulmates, and they shouldn't be apart, so I'm glad they're back together again. If you don't mind bowing your head, I'd like to say the closing prayer. Could be a big part of your family history someday. If anyone would like to share something, we'd love for you to feel free to do that.
Sing a song.
I want to sing a song. My mom, and I know a lot of you have heard her sing and always played in church, always was in the choir, directing the choir. And she made me take piano lessons from her from the time I was 6 till the time I was 12, which at the time I thought was torture and abuse, but I had to go home and practice the piano 30 minutes a day. But, you know, of course, when I finally grew up and looked back, now I'm grateful that she gave that gift to me. So she gave me a good foundation in the piano, and then I picked up some other instruments. And recently, my husband gave me a ukulele, so I've been working on that. So she, when I was little, she had this record from 1 year when she was a kid, and she was trick-or-treating. And one of the houses that they went to, instead of giving out candy, the guy was bringing the kids in, and he had a little recording studio, and he was recording the kids singing and then giving them a record. And she had that record still. She showed it to me when I was about 10. I don't know whatever happened to it. But she and her little friend were singing Sentimental Journey on the record. So, and I'm thinking that now she's taking a sentimental journey home. So I'm gonna sing you a song. Hopefully. Gonna take a sentimental journey. Sorry. Gonna take a sentimental journey. Gonna set my heart at ease. Gonna take a sentimental journey to renew old memories. Got my fare, I got my reservation. Spend every dime I could afford. Like a child in wild anticipation, I long to hear that all aboard. Heaven, that's the time we leave at 7. I'll be waiting up for heaven, counting every mile of railroad track that takes me back. Never thought my heart could be so yearning. Why did I decide to roam? Gonna take a sentimental journey, a sentimental journey home.
That was beautiful.
Anybody else got a story or a memory you'd like to share?
Not really. Just there are so many things growing up and being friends with you, but she made the best wine cokes that go through her store. By far.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
She has a good voice.
My grandmother was Maggie Sullivan, and my dad, Ron Todd, was cousins with Gordy. As a kid growing up, we used to come up to Oak Creek, and Betty and Gordy always made me feel so welcome. There were things in my family, and that's fine, but Betty and Gordy always made me feel like I was a part of their stuff as long as I was here. In 2002, I moved to Grand Junction, Colorado from St. Louis to take care of my grandma Sullivan for the last years of her life. And during that time, Gordon and Betty used to come down from Montana, or we'd go up to Montana to see them. And she just took me under her wing. She knew that I needed a friend. And when Gordy moved to Yuma, they had a house in Colorado that was F's. And they were trying to get rid of it, and Betty had stayed in that house to put it back together again, get everything fixed up, get it sold. And we used to go pick her up every Saturday morning, and we'd go out and have breakfast. We did with her dad too, when he was up here. One day Betty was out mowing the grass, and I kept hollering. I pulled in the grass, and I kept hollering, and I kept hollering, and I kept waving my arms and acting like a monkey out in the front yard. She almost ran over me with that mower before she realized I was dead. She was so engrossed in the grass and getting that job done. And she used to, she hated that house. And she just knew that she was going to be stuck there forever. And I'm so glad that things worked out. One of the loves, they came to all of our parties. They came and took care of my grandma Sullivan when she lived with me, and I just needed a break. Gordy'd always come in, first thing he'd do is make himself a pot of coffee. Or use the Keurig and have himself some coffee. That was Body's favorite. When Betty came back here, Marcia and Betty, on that whirlwind move, they stopped here and spent the night in Grand Junction, and I got to have dinner with them for about 20 minutes, and then they took off. I mean, they were in a hurry. So, and then we found out Betty was sick. I came up 3 different weekends so that I could spend time with her. And her whole left side was gone. She couldn't hardly do anything. And this is Betty Steele. She could hardly move, she could hardly talk. She was trying to get a potato chip up to her mouth. And she kept going and breaking the potato chip on her face. And she'd laugh and she'd laugh. She just thought that was the funniest thing. And she said, if you can't find humor in what you're doing, there's no sense. So, thank you, Betty, for making me feel so much more a part of the family than I'd ever felt before. And Gordy, too. I mean, he even barbecued at my party when I needed to go get a shower. And that's just how they were. That's just how they were. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Excuse me.
I'll say a few words. Toby and I were really good buddies when we were little kids, 5, 6, 7 years old, and I always used to go over to their house, and I had such fond memories of going over there. They always included me as being part of their family, and I can always just remember, such a family atmosphere there, and remember the greenhouse. I mean, the plant seemed huge when we were kids, but anyway, it was just, I always had fond memories of spending time over there with your family when we were kids, and always made me feel like part. And it was always seemed like it was a crazy household too. There was always lots of people there. But anyway, really enjoyed spending time there, and very fond memories from my kid growing up. Anybody else?
same thing Tammy says, that your mom and your dad were always very generous to me and my family. That she and Gordy had me invited with Scott and Ken boys over for Christmas. I don't know if you remember that or not, but it certainly was meaningful to me because she was, and Gordy were so generous. Siblings are all deceased. So anyway, I remember that. And after my wonderful wife and I got married, she is always gracious to us and happy to see us. And I don't know who arranged it, but we had several camping trips with them. With Gordy and Betty and rider bikes and different things. The last trip we went, they invited us down to Yuma. We went down there and had a wonderful, maybe we just went there too. And that was just before Buddy got really sick and passed away. And I'm never so blessed to be able to do that. So he was a part of my life. God bless him.
I'm going to tell one about Betty, because I wrote it in my story. But have you ever seen Seven Brides for Seven Brothers? Well, Betty was Millie. She rolled up her sleeves and went to work. And that's the way you describe Betty.
Well, she sure would have loved.
She would have loved seeing everybody here today. She really loved a big family gathering. That was her favorite thing. So thank you for coming, everybody. And if nobody else would like to speak, we'll just, I guess, spend the time visiting and have some barbecue. And thanks so much for being here. Love all of you.
Love you too.
Siblings are all deceased. So anyway, I remember that. And after my wonderful wife and I got married, she is always gracious to us and happy to see us. And I don't know who arranged it, but we had several camping trips with them. With Gordy and Betty and rider bikes and different things. The last trip we went, they invited us down to Yuma. We went down there and had a wonderful, maybe we just went there too. And that was just before Buddy got really sick and passed away. And I'm never so blessed to be able to do that. So he was a part of my life. God bless him.
I'm going to tell one about Betty, because I wrote it in my story. But have you ever seen Seven Brides for Seven Brothers? Well, Betty was Millie. She rolled up her sleeves and went to work. And that's the way you describe Betty.
Well, she sure would have loved.
She would have loved seeing everybody here today. She really loved a big family gathering. That was her favorite thing. So thank you for coming, everybody. And if nobody else would like to speak, we'll just, I guess, spend the time visiting and have some barbecue. And thanks so much for being here. Love all of you.
Love you too.